How's it going, everyone? My name is True Wonder Dog, and today we're having a look at Scorpion's Variation 3. Even though I don't see many using this build online or even at tournaments, I think it has a lot of potential. Misery Blade seems fantastic for mix-ups and pressure, while Sin Blade has some pretty awesome combos that can do a lot of damage, albeit very unorthodox. But if you put in the effort, you can get some pretty good damage. Alright, so without any further ado, let's get started. This new build gives us access to two new moves. One of them is a special move, the other one is a jumping attack. Let's start off with Air Sin Blade because that one's the most bizarre to me. Misery Blade is a bit more complicated, but oddly enough it's more straightforward, so let's get started. So put simply, Sin Blade is like the neutral punch from past Mortal Kombat games up until this one. You can do it immediately off the ground, though due to that infernal short hop it can be tough to do, but once you do master that awkward timing, you can do it instantly after leaving the ground, though sadly it's not an overhead if you do this, it's still a mid. Now if you do it on the way down, it does still count as an overhead, so it is still a mix-up in that regard, and unlike a lot of other jump-ins, it bounces the opponent off the floor, which can be really cool, leads to awesome combo extensions and fun stuff like that. And that's how you want to use this move most of the time, is to start off combos. Maybe the opponent does a wake up 3 and you read that, you avoid it and then do it on the way down to get a full combo, and in the corner you get even more damage, so it's a really good tool for starting off combos. The issue is it's very tough to combo into. From what I've tested, there's only a couple of circumstances where it's actually possible, and they range from easy to very, very difficult. So oddly enough, one of the easiest ones is if you yourself are in the corner. So let me go ahead and have Sub-Zero walk towards me here. And that's one of the easiest ways to get things started because you might be in the corner a lot of the time, and this teleport is very, very fast. Because if you're even a little bit further from the corner, then you won't be able to get the Sin Blade, it just won't reach. So you gotta be pretty close to the corner, and the opponent has to be closing in on you as well. And then the easiest one to combo after is actually the Crushing Blow from your chain, because the opponent is stunned for so long. Now of course the issue is the odds of getting this one to come out unless you're playing online is very, very unlikely. At a tournament, pretty much no one's gonna get hit by full screen spear, but online, I'll admit this Crushing Blow has caught me more times than I care to admit. So against an online opponent, this can be one of the best ways to combo into Sin Blade because you can dash forward and then just do it. Though once again, short hop does make things a bit difficult, but it's easier here than anywhere else, that's for sure. And then last but not least, we have the regular meter burn chain. You actually can get it after this too. The timing is just absurdly ridiculous. I haven't even seen other combo videos do it, but rest assured it is possible. Now I will say, to make things a bit easier, you want to jump pretty late. Don't hold up, because if you hold up, the game thinks you want short hop for some reason, so you want to actually press up right when you want to jump, and then just hold it for a bit longer than normal. That's the best way that I've found to avoid getting a short hop by accident, but even with this method, sometimes the game won't give you Sin Blade, it'll just give you a regular jumping 2, so I'm still working out the kinks on how to get this to happen consistently. If you have a really good method, please post down in the comments because it can be a bit tough to do. And that's about it for Sin Blade. In summary, it can be a pretty fun mix-up tool in the neutral because it does launch the opponent and start off combos, and you don't have to spend meter to actually do it, so that's one of the nice things about it, because sure, a jumping 2 can start off combos, but if you want anything fancy, then you have to spend the bar, right? Whereas with Sin Blade, you can just get it free of charge, and the damage can be pretty nice for not spending any meter. And then if you do spend the bar, of course you get more damage, but in that situation, I feel like just a regular combo with Scorpion will still do the same amount of damage, so there's no reason to really try with the Sin Blade, except maybe when you have the opponent cornered. If they're cornered, the damage can actually be some of the best outside of Variation 1, and I think that might be one of my biggest gripes, is that Variation 1 still has the best combo damage, so if you want combos, then this is not the best variation, you'd want Variation 1. But even so, Sin Blade can be a very fun tool to mess around with, especially for starting off combos. If you want to combo into it, it can be very, very difficult, but if you do somehow manage to master it and not get the short hop by accident, the damage can be higher than most variations. And next up we have Misery Blade. This is my favorite thing about this variation. I love this move so much during the beta, and it seems to have only gotten stronger since then. So let's talk about all the different options you have from this thing, because it's more than pretty much any other stance in the game. So for starters, if you press triangle, you get an overhead, which can be a nice mix-up when a low would normally happen, right? Everyone expects that low. Nope. Overhead. Sneaky stuff, right? Does pretty good damage too, and you can combo into it too, which is one thing I like about Misery Blade. A lot of stances are only mix-ups, not this one. Even if you hit the opponent, it's not a very big deal. You can still finish the combo and get the knockdown, so that's nice. And then if you press circle, you get a low. And it's the exact same thing on hit. It's plus 24, but it's a bit more distance between you and the opponent, perfect for your 4-3-4 if you want to fish for that Crushing Blow. And it's also a 50-50. Which is very frustrating, right? Now when you do this and the opponent blocks, they may expect the low, they may expect the overhead, it's just crazy. And you can also do it off of things that normally wouldn't have a follow-up, like that, right? There's no mix-up there normally. Normally it's just a mid, but now, nope. It's a 50-50, so it's very scary. Pretty much everything you do can now be a 50-50. Now, of course, depending on what string you do, there will be a gap and the opponent could jab out of it. However, there's not always a gap, and if the opponent's really patient, they're just going to keep falling for this over and over again and keep having to guess. Now, if they guess correctly, they get a full combo on you because nearly everything out of this stance is punishable on block with the exception of a couple moves that I'll make sure to mention. And then if you press X, you get this, a very fast mid attack that is plus 11 on hit and leaves the opponent standing, so no wake up for them. It's also completely safe on block, only -6, so let me go ahead and do it. And as you can see, -6, not punishable at all. I do give up my turn, but I'm still completely safe, unlike pretty much every other option. So pressing X is great for keeping yourself safe, and also great for getting some hit advantage while leaving the opponent standing, because if you knock them down, they can go for a wake up, especially if they have that meter. But if you do this, they have to deal with that 4-3-4 setup. And you're at plus 11, so if they press any buttons, they will get counter hit for a sweet crushing blow. And then if you press square again, you get a cancel. And it's really, really fast to the point of being almost unfair. So if I can make Sub-Zero block here, look at that. Look how fast that is. I bet I could cancel and then throw. Yes, I can. Oh my goodness, it's so fast. And you might think, well, they just duck. Well, I wouldn't advise that because the overhead cometh, right? So you have so many mix-ups here. You can go for an overhead, you can go for a low, you can keep yourself safe, or you can spin the bar and then throw the opponent. Pretty darn crazy. And keep in mind, it only costs defensive bar, not offensive bar, so all those crazy combos are still there. And then last but not least, we have the amplify option, and there are two of them. I swear this did not exist during the beta, but maybe I just didn't go for it. So if I amplify normally, there are two different scorpions that come out, but the overhead is the one that actually hits. The other one is just a fake out. And then if I want the low to hit, I do low and amplify. So I press down and amplify at the same time, and it's the same illusion, but the low is the one that actually hits you. How nonsense is that? It does cost you 1 bar, and this time it is offense meter, not defense meter. But even so, that's going to be so frustrating to block. Imagine you're so low on health that this next hit is going to kill you, and then guess. That just sounds frightening. Now thankfully, once again, it is completely punishable on block, so if the poor opponent does happen to get lucky and guess correctly here, they get a full combo and you're taking a lot of damage, so at least in that respect it's fair. And that's about it for Misery Blade. As you can see, tons of options. You have the overhead and the low for a 50-50. I should mention the low comes out a bit faster than the overhead, so maybe you could fuzzy guard, but the difference is like 7 frames. So memorizing that timing is going to be very difficult, if not impossible. So in my eyes, it's still a true 50-50. And then if you want to keep yourself safe, you can cancel it and then go for a mix-up or more pressure, or you can just press X and then keep yourself safe completely, and on hit, it keeps the opponent standing with some very generous frame advantage, which means time for a frame trap. And then last but not least, we have the horribly unfair amplify options. It can be low or overhead depending on which one you want, and in my opinion, it's pretty much impossible to tell which one is actually the real you and which one is the clone. And that's about it for this variation, so now time for my final thoughts. I love Misery Blade. I love the crazy options it has, I love the 50-50 mix-ups, and I also love how the mix-ups are fair. Or if you guess correctly, or if you have a good read on me and you block it, I now eat a full combo. I think that's fair. I have the perfect mix-up, but also if you guess correctly, I eat a full combo. I think it's very fair. And then on top of that, you have the option to keep yourself safe, but it does very little damage, but still some good advantage on hit. So it can be very nice for setups, good for frame traps, all that fun stuff. It seems like a very fun move, and I can't wait to see what players do with it, especially since the Hellport variation is pretty much useless. So if you prefer playing Scorpion with mix-ups, then I think this is the variation that you want to roll with. And then Sinblade, I really don't like this move's application. It's not the move that I dislike though, it's the short hop. I get the short hop so often, even when I don't want it. And then if I don't get the short hop, sometimes the move won't come out, it just gives me jumping too. So getting this stuff to work consistently can be very, very tough for me personally, but maybe some of you have mastered it, and if so, please explain how in the comments, because comboing into this thing can be a bit tricky. Now thankfully, starting combos with it is actually a lot of fun, and I enjoy it. So for me personally, if I was to rock this variation, I just wouldn't worry about comboing into Sinblade at all. I would use it strictly for starting off combos just to get some nice meterless damage. That's how I would play it. But please let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And then while you're down there, go ahead and leave a like if you enjoyed the video. It really does help my channel out a ton. And finally, why not keep that combo going by subscribing and ringing that bell? That way you never miss a future video. Make sure to come back next time, and as always, stay underdogs.